Episode 11, Echoes of Forever, Years Turned into Decades. Wally Moo, his hair now streaked with silver, sat beneath the familiar baobab tree, his weathered hands gently carving intricate patterns on a wooden figurine. Children, his own and those of his neighbors, swarmed around him, their chatter a comforting melody. One inquisitive girl, his granddaughter Anya, tugged at his sleeve. "Grandpa," she asked, her eyes wide with wonder, "is it true you once walked with the wind and spoke to the stars?" Wally Moo chuckled, the sound like rustling leaves. "There's always a bit of truth in stories, Anya," he said, handing her the finished figurine, a miniature depiction of a young man holding a magical gourd. Anya gasped, her imagination ignited. "Tell us a story, Grandpa Wally Moo," she pleaded, and the other children echoed her request. Wally Moo smiled, a familiar warmth spreading through him. He wasn't just a storyteller anymore. He was a living archive of his own adventures, a bridge between the past and present. He began to weave a tale, not just of his grand exploits, but of the ordinary magic he'd witnessed, the resilience of a desert flower blooming against all odds, the wisdom whispered by the rustling leaves, the silent symphony of a starlit night. As he spoke, the children didn't just hear his words, they saw them. They saw the shimmering cradle of the sun reborn, heard the haunting melody that conned the mountains, and felt the sting of the sandstorm before Wally Moo's warning. But most importantly, they saw themselves reflected in the stories, their own courage, their own connection to the land, their own capacity to listen to the whispers of the world around them. When the last rays of the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in fiery hues, Wally Moo finished his tale. A hush fell over the children, their faces aglow with the embers of a nearby fire. Anya, her eyes sparkling, broke the silence. "Grandpa," she whispered, "will you teach me how to listen to the wind?" Wally Moo's heart swelled with pride. He handed her the magical gourd, its surface now smooth and worn from years of use. "The wind speaks to those who listen with their hearts, Anya," he said. "And the stories it whispers are the most beautiful of all." As Anya held the gourd close, a gentle breeze rustled through the baobab leaves, carrying a melody only she could hear, a melody of endless possibilities, of stories waiting to be told, and the echoes of a legacy that would forever resonate in the heart of Baobab Bend. Wally Moo, his eyes filled with a quiet contentment, watched the next generation of storytellers take their first steps on a path filled with whispers, wonder, and the enduring magic of a world waiting to be heard. Episode 12, Whispers of Reunion. Wally Moo sat beneath the ancient baobab, its gnarled branches casting long shadows on the sun-baked earth. Age had etched lines on his face, a map of his extraordinary adventures. In his hand, he held a familiar object, the magical gourd, its once vibrant surface now a canvas of nicks and scratches, each mark a story whispered on the wind. Anya, his granddaughter, now a young woman with eyes that mirrored his own wanderlust, approached him. "Grandpa," she said, her voice filled with a familiar yearning, "I feel the whispers again. They call me north, towards the whispering canyons." Wally Moo's heart stirred with a mix of pride and apprehension. The canyons held not just forgotten stories, but a memory, the keeper of stories, the enigmatic woman who had guided him on his path. "The canyons are a place of power, Anya," he said, his voice raspy. "The whispers can be alluring, but also deceptive." Anya knelt before him, her gaze unwavering. "I know, Grandpa, but the stories, they feel incomplete." Like a melody with missing notes, Wally Moo understood. The whispers, once his own guide, now beckoned a new generation of storytellers. He traced the worn surface of the gourd, a silent conversation with his past. "Perhaps it's time for a new story to be told," he finally said, a hint of a smile playing on his lips. The journey to the whispering canyons was filled with a sense of déjà vu for Wally Moo. The towering red rock walls, the oppressive silence, it was like stepping back into time. Anya, however, navigated the labyrinthine passage with a confidence that surprised him. They found the cavern, its paintings faded, but their stories still whispering through the ages. But the woman, the keeper of stories, was nowhere to be seen. Disappointment flickered across Anya's face. Suddenly, a flicker of light caught Wally Moo's eye. It emanated from a hidden crevice within the cavern wall. Anya, curiosity burning bright, squeezed through the narrow opening. Mollymoo followed close behind, his old bones groaning in protest. The hidden chamber was small, lit by an ethereal glow emanating from a single crystal shard embedded in the ceiling. In the center of the chamber sat a figure, cloaked in white, their back turned. "Keeper of stories," Anya called out, her voice echoing in the cramped space. The figure turned slowly, revealing a face etched with the wisdom of ages, yet undeniably familiar. Anya gasped, "Grandma," she whispered, tears welling up in her eyes. The keeper, Mollymo's wife Nana, smiled a radiant smile. "Hello, Anya," she said, her voice as melodic as the wine chimes she used to collect. Mollymo's jaw dropped. All these years, he had journeyed across the continent, chasing whispers on the wind, never realizing the keeper of stories had been by his side all along, living a quiet life in the village, raising their children, and waiting for him to return. A wave of emotions washed over him, love, regret, and a profound sense of gratitude. He had been so focused on the grand tales, the faraway lands, that he had almost missed the most important story of all, the story of his own family. Nana gestured towards the crystal shard. "The whispers change, Mollymoo," she said. "They adapt to the listener. Anya hears the echoes of stories you left unfinished." Understanding dawned on Mollymoo. The whispers weren't just about him. They were a bridge between generations, a way for stories to evolve and find new meaning. Anya, tears glistening on her cheeks, looked at Mollymoo. "Grandpa, will you help me finish these stories?" she asked. Mollymoo pulled her into a tight embrace. "Together, Anya," he whispered. "Together, we will listen to the whispers and weave new tales for the wind to carry." As they emerged from the hidden chamber, blinking in the sunlight, Mollymoo knew his journey as a solitary storyteller had come full circle. He had found his greatest story, the story of family, love, and the enduring legacy of shared narratives. The whispers on the wind continued, but now they held a new melody, a melody of reunion, of a family bound by stories, and the promise of adventures yet to come. The echoes of their laughter resonated through the canyons, a testament to the enduring power of storytelling and the unbreakable thread that connected them all. Episode 13. The Circle of Tales. Mollymoo and Anya settled into a comfortable rhythm. Days were spent exploring the familiar baobab grove, their evenings filled with storytelling under the starlit sky. Mollymoo, his voice seasoned with age and experience, recounted tales of his adventures, while Anya, her voice brimming with youthful curiosity, shared stories gleaned from the whispers in the canyons and her own explorations of the surrounding lands. One crisp evening, as they huddled around a crackling fire, Anya held up a fragment of pottery she'd unearthed near a hidden spring. "Grandpa," she said, her brow furrowed, "these symbols. They resemble the ones from the keeper's chamber." Mollymo's eyes widened. The faded symbols on the pottery shard were indeed similar to the markings on the walls of the hidden chamber, a language he'd never been able to decipher. "Perhaps the stories in the canyons hold the key," Anya suggested, her eyes sparkling with excitement. Intrigued, Mollymoo decided it was time to revisit the whispering canyons. This time, they wouldn't just be listening to the whispers. They would be actively searching for answers. The journey back was filled with a renewed sense of purpose. Together, they scrutinized the faded paintings, their combined knowledge sparking new interpretations. Anya, with her youthful agility, reached hidden alcoves that Mollymoo had missed before, revealing fragments of stories that filled the gaps in their understanding. Days turned into weeks as they delved deeper into the canyon's secrets. Slowly, a narrative began to emerge, a story of a bygone civilization that worshipped the wind, believing it carried the whispers of their ancestors. The symbols on the pottery shard, they realized, were a form of wind script, a way of capturing the whispers in a tangible form. Their most significant discovery came deep within the canyons, a hidden chamber filled with clay tablets inscribed with the wind script. It was a library of whispers, a treasure trove of stories waiting to be deciphered. Anya, with her newfound knowledge of the symbols, began the painstaking task of translating the tablets. Mollymoo, his heart swelling with pride, watched her work, a sense of awe washing over him. The whispers that had once guided him were now being given voice by his granddaughter. Weeks turned into months. The Library of Whispers unfolded its secrets, revealing stories of forgotten rituals, scientific advancements, and philosophical musings of the ancient wind worshippers. They learned of their deep connection to the natural world, their respect for the delicate balance of the ecosystem. But the most profound revelation came from a single, weathered tablet. It spoke of a prophecy, a time when the whispers would fade, and the stories they carried would be lost. But it also spoke of a chosen one, a storyteller who would bridge the gap, who would listen not just to the wind, but to the whispers within their own hearts. Anya looked up from the tablet, her eyes filled with tears. "Grandpa," she whispered, her voice trembling. "It was you." Mwalimu smiled, a single tear tracing a path down his wrinkled cheek. "And now, it's you, Anya," he replied, placing a comforting hand on hers. They emerged from the canyons not just with knowledge, but with a renewed responsibility. The whispers might be fading, but the stories they carried were timeless. It was their duty to share them, to ensure the wisdom of the past guided the future. Back in the village, Anya, her voice ringing with conviction, shared the stories from the Wind Library. The villagers listened, captivated, as tales of their ancestors unfolded before them. They learned of their forgotten connection to the wind, their responsibility to protect the environment. A new movement took root in the village, a movement that blended ancient traditions with modern knowledge, a movement that respected the whispers of the wind while celebrating the stories within their own hearts. Mwalimu watched with pride as Anya emerged as a leader, a bridge between generations, a weaver of tales both old and new. He knew his journey, the journey that began with chasing whispers on the wind, had come full circle. The stories, once on the verge of being lost, now lived on, not just in the Library of Whispers, but in the hearts and minds of the people. The circle of tales was complete, a testament to the enduring power of storytelling, the wisdom of the past, and the unwavering spirit of a family bound by the echoes of forever.